down here at the end of the plane. It's me.
Piece of fucking shit! I hate you!
Whoop, whoop, family. 5, 1,000. 6, 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Breaks through enough of the fucking door. He fucking splashes him with it. It's like, my eyes and shit.
I'm over here, you big dumb fuck. You know.
But let's remember,
I can smell the bacon grease dripping from you.
Gotta call it.
And so... Welcome back, everybody, to a special Halloween edition of Deep Fat Fried and the Tournament of Terror. Last time, we saw what happened. We just finished out the featherweight division, or the B-tier division, however you want to think of it. And Michael Myers won that motherfucker. Not easily. You know, there was some stiff competition. Jigsaw was almost up there. Hannibal Lecter made it pretty far. A lot of fucking competitors made it real far.
But those roles just came to impact everything, however small it was. You know, famously with Jigsaw and Hannibal Lecter went head to head. Charlie Horse just gave Jigsaw a little bit more time.
But you know,
Chucky. Oh, good.
Absolutely. No, you go ahead, Scotty. No, you go ahead.
I'll say Chucky. You know, we had some roles like that where we, on the face of it, we're like, oh, this is a shoe-in for this person, and we never knew who was going to come out on top.
I really had my fingers crossed for old Chuck, I was like, oh, maybe, Chucky's the underdog, but maybe...
That would be an upset. Well, imagine if that tournament we come out with Chucky as the champion. And
I mean, Chucky did murder Jack Torrance from The Shining, So
absolutely so.
He got him. Chucky made a good showing. The first one was fun. These are my favorite types of episodes that we do. So I hope that people are having as much fun as I am doing these because
I love a good discussion episode.
My imagination runs wild with these episodes. I love this shit. So
that's all you got.
But you know what?
Episodes. We got to make this episode up.
Let me tell you something.
That's true.
When I sit down and I watch boxing, which I don't normally do anymore, but when I did, the featherweights, they're fun to watch. Like a good featherweight match, a lot of dexterity, a lot of speed, a lot of stamina.
Oh yeah,
a lot of skill.
Yeah, a lot of skill. But at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, I'm always waiting for the heavyweights, man. I'm always waiting for those
featherweights are pussies, dude.
I'm always waiting for those big motherfuckers with giant fucking rippling ass muscles to just pummel the fucking shit out of each other. And that's what we got here today. These are the heavyweight horror icons. There ain't no fucking Jack Torrance on, I'm your dad and I got an axe now. It's like, nah. Ain't none of that. But you know what? The featherweights are going to have their chance because Michael Myers will face off against whoever wins this bracket. Now, I happen to think that he's got some pretty fucking stiff competition up here, and let's meet him. So.
I mean, we've heard underdog stories before, TJ.
Absolutely. Werewolf. Now, what werewolf am I talking about? There's plenty of werewolves.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I recall that time that Paul Zico won the greatest hero of all time contest. Do you remember that?
That was one of the biggest troll jobs in the history of the show. I just want to say that.
One of the greatest underdog stories ever that played out live right here on Deep Fat Fried to the people.
It sure did, Paul. It sure did. Much to Scotty's eternal chagrin.
Yeah, to this day, rigged nonsense.
We are the champions. Oh.
So fucking rigged, dude. So fucking rigged by the fucking.
All right.
You know what, TJ?
What?
In this competition, there's a brainwashed TJ, and I felt that was very appropriate for you, TJ, because you were easily brainwashed by Paul.
Yeah. So
I played you like a harp from hell, baby.
You know what?
I earned that crown.
Honestly,
I did.
I was more.
Hey, you did it with the one of the other games we played.
What's
you
that?
Fucking psyched TJ out. Remember, Paul's like, I'm betting it all. He bet 0.
All right, yeah, that's true. Enough of this bullshit. Let's get to the fucking point here. So,
All right,
werewolf.
Damn, I'm smart and good at winning games.
Yeah, Paul is so smart and so good. Anyway, so
it's a good thing I'm not on these brackets.
Yeah, because if Paul was on this, like,
it'd be over.
Dracula ain't stand a chance. You know what I'm saying? All right, so werewolf. Which one? The one from American Werewolf in London. That's what we're going with.
Okay, that is okay, because that's actually a good analog for your standard modern werewolf.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Super strong, super agile, super ferocious, super, all of that. So
Freddy,
I guess a regular person can decapitate them with ease.
Freddy Krueger absolutely has to be on here. Can't fucking pass up Freddy.
You cannot.
Carrie is on there. Little telekinetic chick going on.
Right.
Dracula.
We only get to see a brief demonstration of Carrie's powers, so I think that she's going to be a contentious.
That's true.
She's a contestant tonight as we theorize what she can and can't do.
We are going to be taking a look at Dracula. Now, which Dracula are we going to use? Now, I knew it had to come down. For me, it came down to either it's going to be Bela Lugosi, it's going to be Christopher Lee, or it's going to be Gary Oldman, and I decided to go with Gary Oldman's Dracula.
Good choice. I had my fingers crossed as you were listing off the 3 choices, saying I hope he picks Oldman, because
I went with
that's
Oldman,
the most powerful Dracula.
Not only necessarily because he's my favorite personally, though he is, but also because he is the closest in powers and skill set to the one in the book, which I think is pretty respectful. Number 3 to the whatever Pinhead. From the Hellraiser franchise. Paul's an expert, of course, because he's seen even the obscure Hellraiser films.
The man lives over my shoulder back here, gentlemen. I know him well.
Right
there.
We
have a Hellraiser.
I possess his infernal box, and I will not open it. I will keep it safe until the end of time, and his tortured and tormented kind can stay locked in the prisonous labyrinthine hell of their own creation.
So we got Brundlefly from the Cronenberg version of The Fly.
Yes.
Jason Voorhees, another absolute, Jason has to be on here. And then one of my favorites that I'm really excited to see what he can do on this list, the great inimitable Pumpkinhead.
I'm happy to see that you have as much esteem for Pumpkinhead as I do, TJ, because I definitely would put him in the heavyweight bracket as well. I mean, he's well suited here, and I think he's well matched against pretty much everybody on this list, especially when roles are considered, which anybody that watches these knows it often comes down to the roles.
Yeah, so for sure. And this is double elimination, so even if someone gets fucked on a roll, they still get another chance. Everybody has to lose twice to lose, and only and there will be a winner left standing at the very end. So,
and
what if they get fucked? What if they get fucked in their roles?
Maybe they will.
You know what I mean?
You never know.
Like somebody comes along and uses
Fucks
their
that
big roles. And
oh yeah, I need that roll. I don't think anyone on this list has roles. Maybe Carrie. Anyway.
Carrie probably got fat in her old age. She probably lives in a trailer somewhere.
Yep. Well, she dies at the end of the movie, but still, nonetheless. Anyway.
She comes back in Carrie 2.
No, she doesn't actually. That's actually with a totally different girl.
But it's Carrie though.
Okay.
It's the soul of Carrie.
She just whatever. We got a long show.
What the fuck?
You know what,
it's
Paul,
a long show.
Good
Let's
enough.
get to it. All right. So
good enough. Paul, you're right about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
All of these motherfuckers die at the end.
So, I don't remember Pinhead ever dying.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Okay.
Yeah. He does.
Pinhead is obliterated in the year 2035, I believe it is.
Okay.
When the good guy cube.
Talking about.
Yep, the good guy cube destroys the gateway to hell and him forever.
Darn. All right, so we're starting with the werewolf from American Werewolf in London, whose name as a human is David Kessler. David Kessler is an American college student and the main character in An American Werewolf in London. After walking at night through the moors of Yorkshire, England, with his friend Jack Goodman, he was attacked and bitten by a werewolf, and thus became a werewolf at every full moon. So, powers and abilities. David Kessler's werewolf form possesses super strength, super speed, enhanced agility, expert stealth, and tracking, and of course, all the abilities you would associate with a wolf magnified by like 10.
Right.
His large size, along with sharp teeth and claws, make him a major threat. I won't even bother doing weapons rolls for him, by the way, because he's a werewolf. Weaknesses. David Kessler does not have control of the werewolf when he is in this form. He is a feral killer with a need to consume flesh. He is not immune to gunfire or knives. All right, and his opponent drew a real heavyweight for this first round, Freddy Krueger. But will Freddy underperform? That's what we're going to answer here. So, by the way, I should mention that Freddy has a special role that no one else has, because I just feel like you almost have to do it with him, because Freddy's powers are much stronger in the dream world. There will be a special coin flip to determine whether or not this battle will be taking place in the realm of dreams or whether it will be taking place in the realm of the real world.
That is fair, because there are some people that might be able to beat him even in the dream world.
Let's remember that even the dream world, we're going to assume that, even the dream, even a bunch of kids who just like are active dreamers have some ability to fight Freddy.
I mean, every time he's been defeated, it's been in the dream world. So, except for the first time,
right? Where they brought him in reality. And I think the second one too, but after that, pretty much every time. It's really not even so much. I wouldn't even think of it so much as the dream world, so much as just like, does he have his dream level powers or does he have his real world level powers? Because
it's just like, look at it like this. What about if it's like it's the dream world version of whatever we roll,
right?
Or
sure.
not?
You can almost just think of him as having his dream powers because he has a diminished set of powers in the real world. Now he still has powers, but they're diminished. Anyway, we'll figure out the logistics of that as we go, I'm sure.
Fair enough.
I'm going to read a little Freddy quote here. My children, from the very beginning, it was the children who gave me my power. The Springwood Slasher, that's what they called me. My reign of terror was legendary. Dozens of children would fall by my blades. Then the parents of Springwood came for me, taking justice into their own hands. When I was alive, I might have been a little naughty. But after they killed me, I became something so much worse. The stuff that nightmares are made of. The children still feared me, and their fear gave me power to invade their dreams. And that's when the fun really began. It's a Freddy Krueger quote. I forget which movie that's from. I think it's from Freddy vs. Jason, actually.
Yeah, a great self-description, too. I mean, it definitely succinctly kind of sums up what Freddy is and what he has, what powers he has.
So Freddy Krueger is, of course, the main antagonist of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. He was a pedophilic child murderer in life, and while in death, he is a demon, a dream demon who kills victims in their dreams, although he has occasionally used other methods. Freddy Krueger, a.k.a. the Springwood Slasher, can enter the dreams of victims and kill them from within their nightmares. It's his whole shtick, you understand. He normally relies on his glove in combat. The glove was made out of sheet metal pipes, fishing knives, rivets, and an old leather work glove. In some variations, Freddy uses 2 gloves instead of 1, but this is uncommon. Also, in at least one iteration, the glove is literally the claws come out of his hand itself in the Wes Craven's.
In the dream world, it's very common for him to have 2 clawed hands or whatever the fuck,
right.
Or at least it happens a couple of times that I can remember.
I don't know if we'll necessarily do weapons rolls for him either because he's already got his weapon of choice on him. But then again, we did deny some of the other characters their weapons, so maybe Freddy has to make do without those gloves. I guess we can...
I mean, maybe if it's in the real world, he has to do a weapons roll.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But in Dream World, I think we give him his weapon of choice.
Fair enough. So while Freddy cannot be killed inside the dream world, I mean, that's arguable. I think he has been killed in there. But then he always comes back, so... A lot of these guys, they always come back.
Like we said, it's not about
fight, not
killing.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about killing. It's about winning the battle. Freddy has no reality manipulation in the real world and relies on his combat skills. Also not true because he sets a pool on fire with just the power of his mind. Well,
also remember they have to believe they have to destroy his like bones or his gravesite, and he does come to life and fight them.
but then his bones come to life too. So he does have power.
That's what I'm saying. His bones
Honestly,
come to life.
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to peg down Freddy's powers. It's another problem with what these characters that have been in multiple films is there's multiple interpretations. So we're gonna have to kind of like make some decisions on the fly about that.
I mean, I think it's questionable whether the final scene happens in the dream world of Nightmare 2 happens in the dream world or the real world.
Well,
anyway,
Nightmare 2 tried to get rid of the whole dream angle for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, so much to their, 2 is kind of, it's a terrible addition to the franchise. I'm surprised.
I think it shouldn't be
terrible.
considered canon as far as his powers go, and we should rely on 1, 3, 4.
Right, gotcha.
But that's my stance on it. I guess we'll hash that out when we come to it.
Let's go ahead and just do this coin flip. Heads, he's in the dream world because he's in your head. Tails, he's not.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So
okay.
in this
All
first
right.
round, he is not in the dream world. So we're going to deny him his claws, and he's going to have to fight with something else. But
That's a bad roll for Freddy Krueger against this fucking werewolf.
Against the fucking
werewolf.
Yeah. But it's the luck of the fucking draw sometimes. All right, so
what are you gonna do?
Let's see where the werewolf is going to fight. Spooky Forest at Midnight, that favors a
Oh
werewolf.
my god.
That definitely favors a werewolf.
I mean, and it's, it makes total sense too. That's when the werewolf comes out. That's his fucking prime hunting time. You know what I mean? That's his shit. Full moon in the woods.
And the werewolf is going to get an edge. Let's see what his edge is. Get surprise attack. Okay, I think Freddy's kind of fucked in this one.
Freddy, well, I mean, let's see what happens.
Now, the werewolf doesn't need a weapon. He's a werewolf.
I mean, we might as well get rid of the weapons for a lot of these, to be honest with you.
Yeah, some of these guys don't need weapons at this point because, they're not slashers. But if there is one that needs a weapon, we'll just do the weapons roll.
Sure, fair enough.
But Freddy is going to need a weapon because he's going to... Well, I don't know. I guess we can give him his claws if you want, but...
I mean, he has his claws in the real world when he comes through, right?
I mean, he made him as a human being before. I think it would simplify this because hold on, can you go back to Let's go back and see if anyone's going to need a weapons roll. No. Well, no. Jason will. Yeah, Jason will need a weapons roll.
But we can assume that Jason has his trademark machete.
All right, we'll just, for the sake of simplicity, we'll drop the weapons thing and just roll with that.
Are you guys cool? Are you cool with that, Scotty?
Well, I mean, as powerful as these monsters are, they don't have to rely on weapons.
Right. Well,
I agree.
The only one that does is Jason. I mean, even he doesn't really. He has the strength to physically just rip someone apart.
Yeah, we can give, we're giving Freddy his glove. Let's give Jason.
Jason's got he's got his trademark machete. He's got his machete.
Okay.
Which is the weapon.
So that just saves time, anyways.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. All right. So, will Freddy get an edge or a drawback? Freddy will also get an edge.
Okay.
Has 2 minutes to prepare, but we know that he still gets surprise attacked. So
right. So, but he can prep himself out there in the woods. But 2 minutes is not that long out in the woods.
Yeah, and
we have no indication that he was like a woodsman or like a survivalist or any type of commando or anything, right? He was just a dude that worked at the school and stoked the furnace, right?
Here's what we got to determine right now. We have to figure out a question of what powers does Freddy take into the real world? Because, obviously...
So what's canon and what isn't is really the question, because... you're probably more familiar with the Nightmare franchise on the whole, but Freddy's jumps into the real world are always questionable as dreams. Except for a couple of cases, maybe at the end of Nightmare 2 and a lot of times in Nightmare 2 when he jumps into the real world, but I don't know if we want to dump that.
So he's in the real world in 2, he's in the real world at the end of 1, arguably. But it's
Freddy versus Jason as well.
Yeah, so Freddy versus Jason is probably the best example we have of him being in the real world, where he fights Jason, and he's shown to be formidable against Jason in that movie. But we didn't really see him doing a lot of reality-bending powers. It did seem like he was stronger than an average human and stuff. But, he wasn't really able to summon up any magic or anything. So...
No.
One of the things
if we consider 2 canon, we saw that he was able to, ignite things on fire and do some basic reality bending, although not nearly to the extent he could do in the dream world. So I guess it's kind of just like how much
we either unilaterally decide as a group that 2 is canon or it isn't. If it's canon, we assume he has limited telekinesis or pyrokinesis in the real world, like some limited ability. He can't warp things and change them to his will, but he can take existent things and maybe make them combust or
I think for the sake of giving him some kind of I think for the sake of giving him some possibility of besting this werewolf, we have to grant him that stuff. So let's just say that's
you have to grant him a degree of his powers. Obviously, it's the real world, so he doesn't have the same level of his powers.
I'm going to say that he's stronger than an average person. He can take more damage than an average person. He's obviously he's got some of his immortality and stuff. We saw that he was even decapitated. He was still able to wink at the audience and break the fourth wall at the end of that film. Right. Even though it wasn't the real world. So there's obviously some abilities there, but I'm still thinking that this werewolf has a pretty distinct advantage. I mean, this terrain favors the werewolf. A werewolf is naturally in the woods,
Here's one problem that I pose to you guys.
Sure.
If I were Freddy in this situation, I would start the woods in every direction on fire. Like, I would burn away any ability for this werewolf to approach me. But we know that he's already rolled that he's going to get surprised anyway.
Right. So we know. But
there's no way the werewolf could fucking surprise him because the werewolf can't run through a burning forest.
The conceit here is that Freddy's using his 2 minutes to light basically a ring of fire around himself as like a defensive shield.
Right. To just light the whole fucking forest on fire, find a clearing, and light it on fire all around him so that he can't be approached.
But we know this werewolf surprises him. We know this werewolf surprises him, so I'm assuming that the werewolf just jumps right through the flames, and then Freddy finds himself trapped in a ring of fire with this thing.
Yeah, which is not good for him because he fears fire.
Yeah, and he doesn't like fire, even though he has some control over it. Because he still has memories of being burned horribly to
Freddy
death.
can take the punishment, but I mean, if he loses a limb, are we saying that Freddy has another like crazy long limb he can pull out, or is if there's limb loss?
I don't think that I think his healing factor is superior to a human's, but I don't think it's like on that level. But then again,
if he's beheaded or torn in half, he's dead.
Right. This werewolf is susceptible to knives. Obviously, Freddy has a series of knives appended to his hands at all times.
The werewolf is susceptible to damage from normal weapons, but it can only be killed and stopped with a silver bullet.
Right. So if we're going with the conceit that there is a giant ring of fire and it's Freddy versus his werewolf, then it becomes just a matter of like who's going to fight more brutally and who's going to do more damage. And I think the werewolf is going to fuck Freddy up.
The werewolf is in his element, so even if Freddy doesn't light the woods on fire, the werewolf is getting a crit sneak attack on Freddy, and that attack is probably going to be something that rips his fucking head off. I mean, the wolf is not going to take a bitch swipe at him. It's going to jump. If it gets a free sneak attack, it's going to pounce on him and bite his fucking head off, and it's game over for Freddy, unfortunately. I think he just rolled bad here.
There's no way. I mean, in the dream realm, Freddy can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can fucking, the fucking werewolf can think he killed Freddy, and Freddy has another fucking Freddy behind him stabbing him in the back. But here, it's just he's too much of a disadvantage.
Luck of the draw, the werewolf from American Werewolf in London.
It just makes too much sense.
But Freddy has a chance. Freddy
can roll better next time.
Freddy ain't out. Don't worry. So now it's Carrie versus Dracula.
Oh,
Dracula.
Shit, anyway, let's see.
Come into my house and leave behind
I think the spooky forest at midnight has happened a couple times. Let's go ahead and remove it from.
Get it out of here.
Attention.
Yeah, fuck you, spooky.
A cruise ship, huh?
Oh, damn. Okay.
The Demeter, ship's log, 47th of January.
Yeah, Dracula's gonna love this
rises
location.
against us. The wind has some foul smell.
Okay, so Carrie.
Blood was found on the deck and a man missing, but no one knows what happened.
So, will Carrie get an edge? No.
Neither.
Will I guess there's nothing else to do for her, so how about
will Dracula get an edge?
How about Dracula? How's he do? Also
Dracula.
neither. Okay, so just mono a mono, no edge or handicap for either one.
Oh, shit.
Fighting on a cruise ship.
I mean, look, telekinesis is a powerful thing, but I really felt like Carrie needed some sort of edge.
So let me go ahead.
Is definitely Dracula's element.
Let me go ahead and go over the character biographies of these two really quickly. So for Carrie, everyone isn't bad, Mama. Everything isn't a sin. Carrie White. Carrie White is the villainous protagonist of the 1976 horror film Carrie. Carrie is a victim of social isolation, peer pressure, religious abuse, and bullying. One year during prom, she finally snaps, enacting her psychic revenge on those who did her wrong. So powers and abilities. Carrie possesses the power of telekinesis, levitation, pyrokinesis, geokinesis, electrokinesis, and hydrokinesis. Basically just complete mastery of reality all around. I mean, she can't necessarily change something into something else, but she can manipulate physical matter.
She can manipulate electricity, right. Matter,
she can
the earth.
Create fire. She can, control water, anything she needs to do. Right. She is also highly intelligent and can read minds. Will she be able to read Dracula's mind is an interesting question.
No.
Although Carrie is immensely powerful, she is still just a human and can be killed in the same way that any regular human can. As for Dracula, let's see. Where is he? There he is.
Dracula, TJ. It is an old name.
There is no life in this body. I am nothing. Lifeless, soulless, hated and feared. I am dead to the world. Hear me! I am the monster that breathing men would kill. I am Dracula. Of course, Count Dracula is the main antagonist of Bram Stoker's Dracula. He is the Voivode, I don't know how that word is pronounced, of Transylvania, ruler of Castle Dracula, and lord of the vampires. Powers and abilities. There's a ton. He's an immortal being, super strength, super speed, super agility. He can crawl on walls. He can shapeshift into a wolf-like humanoid, a regular wolf, a bat, green mist, swarm of rats, probably other things too that we just didn't see in the movie. He can manipulate shadows, control the weather, control animals, telekinetically interact with objects, hypnotize foes, etc. Dracula is a genius, of course. A lot of these characters are genius-level intellects. It's very interesting. And is an expert fighter and swordsman. He can even resist vampiric weaknesses such as crucifixes, although he is still...
He's also psychic. He can... Did you say psychic?
Yeah.
So
he's telekinetic.
He has some ability to read minds and to speak into minds because he knew what fucking Renfield had done.
Yes, of course.
Not being there.
Yeah, he has. I mean, Dracula's powers are. I mean, his set of powers is imposing and very difficult to combat. So his powers are weakened during the day. So I'm assuming this battle probably will take place at night.
Maybe he needs a flip just like fucking Freddy does.
So
that's a unique thing.
You call it heads or tails?
Heads for the day, tails for the night. So they're up or down.
Heads. Ooh. It's daytime. So Dracula's powers diminished by, let's say, 50%, something like that.
Yeah.
So that gives Carrie a little bit better of a shot.
And it also depends on whether they're in a location that really relies on fucking. If it's a heavy interior location, then Dracula's probably better off.
It's a cruise ship.
It's a cruise ship. So we're going to assume.
Well, yeah. So, but the bowels of that cruise ship, dude, he could,
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Absolutely.
So let's just ask ourselves, where do they start this fight? I mean, are they on the deck? Are they in the...
We have in the past started people on opposite ends. In the case of a cruise ship, we have the opportunity to do that on two different axes. We can put one at the bow and one at the stern, or we could put one up top in the cabin where the driver is, and one down below decks in the engine rooms and customer luggage storage area. That's 8 or 10 decks below.
Well, that's where I imagine Dracula would be. Somewhere,
right. So
dark.
We could do it that way. We could say Dracula starts in the bowels of this thing, and Carrie starts up at the top deck.
Yeah,
she's on the top deck of this thing.
So Carrie's hydrokinesis could definitely come into play here with all this water surrounding the ship.
She's human though, so
yes.
she can't fucking sink the ship or make a storm and crash it because she'd die in it too.
Well, Carrie's Carrie's an emotionally vulnerable teenage girl who's been the victim of emotional abuse. So, I mean, she might not really give a shit. She might kamikaze herself.
You know, I mean, you say that too, but there's an angle of Dracula trying to manipulate her.
That's
and
true.
To make, like, you know, like, I care about you. Like, oh, you've been mistreated. You know, all this stuff, you know, reading into like her troubled past, even like, I can help you.
Maybe Dracula would try to manipulate her a little bit too. Like, you are misunderstood. They see you as a monster. They see me the same way, you know, kind of shit, you know?
Carrie, is that your real name or is it a shortened version? No, my name is Caroline. Caroline. Your beauty makes me weep.
Tear of blood, you know.
Yeah.
We are both outcast, shunned. With your powers, if you joined me, you would be unstoppable. I would be king and you would be queen of the night.
Let's just assume that's not going to happen.
Right.
Because there has to be a fight.
Right.
These two got to
well,
go
no,
at it, right?
I'm just saying he could say that just to deceive her and disarm her and then
Yeah.
boom, sneak
And
attack
then,
kind of shit, you know?
Sure. I guess it did. So he didn't get any sneak attack though. So
No.
we have to assume they hit the ground on equal footing. And if she's ready to fight, she's going to fucking go as soon as she sees him.
We're assuming Carrie is just like, she's in battle mode. She's prom mode. She's like fucking shit up.
Unless he gets the drop on her, you know, and then at that point, I would say you could argue that he uses his guile. But at this point, she's ready to fucking kill. She knows somebody's on the ship.
Both of them have mind reading abilities. Are either of them able to read each other's minds, or can they sense each other mentally?
I think that in order for this to be fair, we have to say that neither one of them can read the other because they're both such strong telekinetic personalities.
Maybe they can, like, you know, the Force, they can sense their presence, but that's about it. It's not like any sort of like, I can read you like a book.
Yeah, maybe they know where each other is, but they can't read thoughts because it's just blocked by the interference of the other person trying to read your thoughts, you know, because they both have really strong arguments for being strong telekinetic power holders. So I would say that, like, they cancel each other out on that. And yeah, maybe they know each other's locations and that's it.
So Carrie can be killed in many more ways than Dracula can. Dracula has to be killed by either a stake through the heart, a sacred bullet, like a silver bullet kind of thing, where he has to be decapitated.
Well, remember, he doesn't have to be killed. He just has to lose the fight. Like,
right,
you
enough.
Can damage Dracula enough to where he has to slink back and regenerate.
Sure, fair enough. But I'm just saying she has far more vulnerabilities than he does.
Yes.
But I think
yeah, for sure.
I mean, her telekinetic powers are shown to be pretty impressive. Whereas, you know, I mean, he definitely has some impressive powers. I don't know that he really had I don't think he never exhibited telekinesis on the level that she had, where she's like literally manipulating things all around her simultaneously. But he has other abilities that she doesn't even have an answer for too.
Yeah, she's not gonna have mastery of the ship. He can go anywhere on the ship he wants, literally at will.
I mean,
you know, he has the ability to move like that. Even if it's diminished somewhat, it's still very much that he's gonna have an imposing physical.
I don't really know
speed advantage.
I don't know that anything could really stand in Carrie's way in terms of like obstacles or anything. I think she can just rip anything that needs to be ripped apart. There's no limit to the strength.
He can move so quickly that even if that obstacle is there and she's focused on that, she's still human. She does not have a, like, unless, you know, does she have a supernatural ability with like speed or anything else besides that?
No, she moves at a normal human pace.
I mean, other than that, she can.
I mean, obviously, she could probably levitate herself. So.
She does at the end of the movie.
So there is some.
She comes off the ground.
Right. So, I mean, there is some powers there. There's some.
Yeah, she definitely does. Yeah.
You could assume.
I think she lifts other people too, doesn't she?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, would she be? I mean, she'd be able to physically repel Dracula, or would his power be able to counteract that? There's a lot of questions here about like how their powers interact with each other. You know.
So it all depends on where the fight goes down. Of course, Dracula is going to try and not have this fight go on in the deck in the broad sunlight. Like, he can't do that. He can't even really fight there. And we have to make a concede that she goes after him. So Carrie, being a hothead, is pissed at this guy. She knows she has to kill him. And she goes below decks looking for him. And they kind of meet somewhere mid decks in the fucking area where people live or people stay on the ship, you know. They meet the mid decks or, you know, somewhere else. I mean, Dracula's pretty fast. So he's like missed. So he could probably they might meet closer to the top of the ship where the restaurants and bars and all that shit are.
Yeah.
Um,
Which that gives Carrie a lot of fucking things to throw around too.
It also gives him a lot of shit to do. I mean, like when you ask the question, like she, telekinetically is able to repel him. Well, yeah, but he can turn into mist.
Right, but can she control that? I mean, can she repel the mist? Maybe the mist is
Sure,
not a great
but
form for him to be.
But mist doesn't.
How
get
do you damage
repelled,
the
it just-
mist?
Right. How do you damage it? It just goes back into the fucking ground and he comes at her
Right.
from another fucking.
Well, I mean, obviously he doesn't. I mean, he can turn into mist, but he never like used it like to avoid damage in a fight in the movie at any point. Like he never was like, "I'll just turn into mist. Now I'm invulnerable." You know what I mean? So,
I mean, no, he turned into rats. So
Right.
he turns into rats and scurries away. Then it's the same thing. He just didn't use it in the movie, but you can't deny that it would be a good power to
Yeah, it'd
have.
be very easy to
Sure.
do that. Or to escape.
but maybe
to
she just
escape
like
or to get into a
I'll
place
just
you
blow
can't get
this
into.
mist away, and now it's
Yeah,
gone.
he doesn't have to
you
even
know?
show up as like, hey, I'm Dracula. There's a number of ways he can come in. He can come as an animal that she's not necessarily going to realize, hey, that's Dracula. He can come in as mist.
That's true. He doesn't know that her powers, but she doesn't know his either
Right.
because they can't read each other's minds. They know they're both telepaths, but that's it.
But remember,
And I
Dracula's
think the
not.
very easy for Dracula to observe her.
Dracula's
on
not
that
trying
ship.
to. Dracula's not trying to survive this encounter or escape. He's trying to fucking kill her too. So
Yeah,
they're
but I'm
Right,
saying, but
so-
he can observe her and see what she's doing before. I mean, he doesn't have necessarily. He can attack
Right.
at the opportune moment.
They're both
Exactly.
after her, right.
She doesn't know he can come as a mist, so he can just be mist up in the vents and watch her go through the rooms, and maybe she's angry and blows up a few rooms with fire. He can learn some stuff about her,
Yeah.
and
Ascertain
and
some facts.
ascertain some facts before he engages. Now she knows where he's at, so it might be that he has to try and stay far from her and lead her through the ship to observe her by moving around with mist, because she's going to be home. Remember, we said they know where the other one is. So she maybe senses him down the hall because he's missed and he's watching her fucking throw fire down the hall and shit. And he's like, okay, all right. He's watching her pick shit up and fling it in rooms he was just in,
Yeah.
So he has a unique ability to observe her that she doesn't have. She's a normal human in
Yeah.
that capacity, and we take away her telekinesis. She doesn't know anything about what she's facing here.
Right. She doesn't
So-
know necessarily that she's facing a vampire.
And Dracula then
Unless-
can lead her to wherever he wants. So maybe Dracula can lead her to a more favorable spot to him.
The
where he
bowels
wants
of the
to take
ship, where he's
Yeah.
furthest from the sun and
Right.
has the most power. So he's going to lead her slowly but surely through the ship, observing as she goes, all the way to the very bottom where the fucking cargo and engine grease rooms are at, where it's dark and cramped. And then he's going to fucking just pounce on her and bite her neck. I mean, like, break her neck, or
Yeah, I mean,
appears a fucking that wolf man and snap her neck, or appears the bat version of them himself and fucking bite her on the neck and just tear her throat out. I mean, she can't pyrokinesis her way out of that one. You know what I mean? And he can get the drop on her. She can't get the drop on him. That's a distinct advantage he has,
Yeah,
especially in
that's
this
true.
environment. So I think Dracula has to win this one, dude. Personally, unless you guys can
I
think
pretty
of
much
a
see it the same way.
Well,
for the same
the,
reason. It's like,
the-
how do you like
The reason
with
I
the power level of Carrie? She does have some astonishing power for a human, but ultimately Dracula just has so many more abilities that it's like he just has too many advantages to say. I mean, Carrie might be able to put up a better fight than 99.9% of humans, but it's Dracula. At the end of the day, unless there's some compelling thing like she gets a sneak attack, she
And,
has
I mean,
some
she
other
could
role.
even if she kamikazed herself, the sea can't kill Dracula.
right.
No,
Like, he's not going to drown.
Right.
So she would be the one that died from the kamikaze attack.
yeah,
So
and he's got
I
that in
don't
his
see-
back pocket. I'll sink the ship. Fuck you.
Well, the thing is too
Yeah.
is like the fact of the matter is that like she's just like he's more sophisticated. He's able to fucking do these like surveillance on her and figure her out. She's not able to do the same thing. She doesn't even necessarily know she's up against a vampire. Even if she does, like, she's gonna have to fucking put together like a stake or something like
we have
that to take
proof.
him out.
We have proof of him doing this to normal people throughout the
Right.
text and the movie that you based this on. He surveils people before he appears to them. He sees them when they
Oh, yeah.
he's
Right. Let me
they
ask you
don't
this:
see him.
do you guys feel like maybe the people on this cruise ship would play any sort of factor, or would they just be kind of like tossed aside by both of these people.
They would be
Just get out of my way.
Carrie would probably be beneath their notice as she moved through the ship because she would just look like a normal girl that was there on vacation.
On vacation, yeah.
It might make it hard for him to lure her down into the bowels, but Dracula could just kill everybody down there, and you know what I mean, make the way open for her. You know.
Well, I'm assuming
Like, he
Carrie. I'm assuming Carrie's like in sort of a rampage mode, so I'm like kind of envisioning her like just like butchering people on her way to Dracula.
I think it's like elephant
that only helps Dracula
because
because
he's seeing more and more of the powers that she's using too, and like what
right.
What its potential limits are. Obviously, he can't know for sure because he's not any more familiar with her than she is with him. But
he'll have enough time to watch her slaughter people in various ways. She'll be throwing shit around. She'll be setting shit on fire. She'll be causing waves to wash up over and take people into the sea. You know, she'll be doing shit as she makes her way through the boat, killing people as she goes.
And he's just waiting in the wings, so to speak, waiting for the opportune moment to just pounce and
as she's doing that shit, making her way towards him, he can just make sure that she gets less and less resistance as she gets closer to him and gets more and more confident as she gets closer to him. And then he'll know by that time, I don't know what Dracula would choose, but what's the opportune power that I could use to make sure she doesn't see me, that I get behind her and I can just snap her neck or bite her throat out. And he would use that and she would die and wouldn't get a chance to blow the room up. And even if she did, she wouldn't kill him, just hurt him.
Right.
Fire can't. Yeah. I mean, unless she fucking just burned him to ash, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think she could do that in the time that it would take for him to rip her fucking whole head off.
I think
basically.
I think if
I feel like Dracula just manipulates and controls the entire fight. He's just the more experienced opponent. I mean, living hundreds of years will give you that the perspective.
She's a
she
teenage
does not
girl.
have.
Right.
Yeah. She doesn't have that experience, that knowledge, that patience.
And so
Dracula has everything in his favor. I mean, Dracula would need a serious handicap to lose the carry. So
I agree.
I feel like the only way we can call it is, but anyway, it's Dracula.
And so,
but she'll get the chance to battle her way up out of the losers bracket. She'll be facing Freddy.
Maybe you'll have a better luck against Freddy.
Hey, you know what? That's actually a good opponent for Freddy, though, because that's one of his favorite targets, them teenage girls, man.
Yeah. Teenage girl is a good target for Freddy. All right, now it's time for Pinhead versus Brundlefly. A weird matchup, if seen one.
A very weird matchup.
So, let's see where they're going to fight. A crowded subway car. Very strange.
Oh, that's that's interesting.
Let's see. So we start with Pinhead, actually. Let's see what Pinhead gets. He gets a handicap.
Ooh.
And that means that he's just been going through some things lately. You know what I mean? He's been going through some shit.
Particularly bad down here on the torture dungeons.
Things it's just like a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff going on in Pinhead's world right now.
It's been so long since I experienced the flesh. I can't remember when. So much paperwork.
Poor Pinhead, dude.
Poor
All right,
Pinhead.
so let's see how Brundlefly is going to do. Oh, Brundlefly gets an edge. Let's see what his edge is. High on PCP, cannot feel pain. I don't know that he ever really could anyway, but sure. So,
yeah, Brundlefly is high on PCP. Why not?
So, Brundlefly, I'm an insect who dreamed he was a man. And
actually, that's an interesting one against Pinhead, because Pinhead is all about inflicting pain on his opponent.
That is true.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Brundlefly. I'm an insect who dreamed he was a man and loved it, but now the dream is over and the insect is awake. Seth Brundle, a.k.a. Brundlefly, is the protagonist/antagonist of 1986 film The Fly. A master of molecular physics, Seth Brundle was involved in a teleportation accident that merged his DNA with that of a common housefly. His powers include super strength, wall crawling, the ability to spit acid, enhanced agility, little need for sleep. He retains his genius-level intellect, however, he is prone to more feral actions.
I'd also say, strength beyond a normal human being as well.
Oh, yeah. I opened with super strength.
Okay, sorry.
While Brundlefly is super strong, he is not immune to damage from conventional weapons such as guns and knives. Prior to his transformation, Seth Brundle was prone to motion sickness. However, it was not stated if his transformation got rid of this. I think we can probably infer that it did. So let's learn a little bit about our buddy Pinhead. I believe he's up here. There he is. No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. That's a Pinhead quote. Pinhead is the main antagonist of the Hellraiser series. He is the leader of the Order of Gash, a sadomasochistic religion whose adherents are demonic torturers known as Cenobites. This cult, as well as Pinhead himself, can be summoned by the demonic mechanical prize box known as the Lament configuration, which Paul now has in his possession. That's actually the real Lament configuration that was used in all the films right there. Pinhead is an immortal being with pain immunity and superhuman durability. He can resist gunshots and even futuristic energy weapons. His actor, Doug Bradley, has stated that he is stronger than both Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers. He can teleport and can summon barbed wire hooks and chains out of thin air to control or restrain or mutilate his victims. He has the power of conjuring explosions, strong enough to destroy cars. Pinhead is also extremely intelligent and calculating. Even if he is reverted to his human form, he is a World War I veteran and has combat training. Weaknesses. Pinhead can be defeated with the Lament configuration. The box can banish him back to hell. If he is reverted back to his human form, he can also be killed. So, let's go ahead.
Okay.
Yes. Do you feel like he has other weaknesses, Paul? You're the Pinhead expert. You've seen all these fucking movies.
Pinhead is strange because he's not like a dude that something happens in the second film that shows that he's pretty weak, but I don't know if it's a weakness that's exploited by the fact that he's down in hell or that a more powerful version had come along, somebody that the Lord of the Labyrinth had empowered. Because you remember the doctor kills him in 2.
Oh yeah, they have a little fight.
But he
And
turns
all
him,
he
doesn't
does
he
is
turn him human
basically
first?
he turns him human and then slits his throat. So I guess he can be killed in that way. But Brundlefly's got no way to turn him human.
Right.
No.
So I don't know
So
what.
that's a vulnerability that Brundlefly has no way to exploit.
Right.
When he does, he very rarely shows his power. But there's a power you didn't mention. He can control fire to a certain extent as well.
Okay.
Not that there would be any in this place, but he can do it. I don't think he can make it from nothing, but if there is fire nearby, he can make it more. He can make it rise, and he can even direct it.
So,
we
got Pinhead. We got Brundlefly in a subway car. So this is a super confined environment. We can assume that there's some people in between them, because I said a crowded subway car, I believe.
Right. Pinhead is driven by suffering, by the way. So the actual negative that he rolled might even fuel him, because he loves torture and torment and pain in all its many forms, psychological included. So if he's currently frustrated, it might just fuel him. It might make his dick harder,
True.
Yeah.
But Brundlefly cannot suffer for him, unfortunately. So,
I don't see anything in the Fly that leads me to believe that if there were some kind of gun that wrapped a bunch of chains with hooks around him, that he would not be easily restrained.
Right.
I don't think he's strong enough to break through a bunch of chain.
No.
And one of the most distinct powers that Pinhead has in the real world and within the hellscape is he can shoot forth and summon forth chains.
Yes.
With fish hooks on them, and wrap people up with them in various torturous positions and shit. And even though Brundlefly can't feel the pain of that, the restraint of that is going to take him out of this. I don't think that he's going to be able to get.
What about his acid? What about his acid saliva? You think he could use that to fucking
maybe?
I don't think that's gonna kill Pinhead. Dude.
Escape the chains.
I mean, that's a good point. He could puke the acid saliva, but Pinhead could be doing damage
the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that acid didn't eat immediately through shit. It took forever to melt that dude. It's gonna take even longer to melt fucking metal.
He's just gonna be ripped apart by Pinhead.
Pinhead is gonna have time to fuck with him as he tries to puke his way out of that situation, and he's not gonna spend it idly if he thinks that thing is gonna rip him apart. So he'd be spending his time summoning more hooks to rip more flesh off of its head and expose his brain, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it'd be over. I don't think Brundlefly's got a chance in this. I am a Pinhead apologist, though. So if you guys think I'm being uncharitable to the Brundlefly here, let me know.
I mean, Brundlefly is. I don't know if he could. I mean, I mean, the critical question for me is, could he even break through those chains? And I think he could, given some time, but I think that in that time, Pinhead would fuck him up, especially in somewhere as confined as a subway car. I'm sure that anybody in between the two of them would probably suffer a horrible fate as well. So we're talking about
not
a lot
only
of dead
that,
civilians on this as well.
I just thought of something else. What was the wording on his exact negative that he got, Pinhead?
His
Going
his
through a
weakness. Oh yeah, he's been going through a lot lately.
Right. So what would that be for a being that desires nothing but suffering? He's been denied it. He's on the other end of a train from his target with a bunch of juicy people that he can rip apart with chains and get right before the fight. You know what I mean? So like, it's another like.
But Pinhead has rules that kind of govern him too. He's not just a wanton killer. He usually wants to kill people who have like somehow called upon him, usually with a lament configuration, like someone whose desire to experience that sort of suffering.
Bystanders.
Well, we see in 3 though. I mean, they slaughtered an entire club.
That's true.
And a lot of other people. So I don't know. I would say
bystanders. Yeah, dude. In 3, he fucking completely destroys an entire club and just kills everybody in it.
Right. Hell
Makes
on Earth,
some of them into Cenobites. So he does have that power too. So what if he created a couple of Cenobites to help him out in the fight? I mean, this fight does not look good.
Yeah, I would say
for
that
Brundlefly.
I would say that it's just too outclassed here.
Yeah, Brundlefly would have needed to roll like surprise attack, you know.
The hell's this shit?
And Pinhead would have been severely handicapped. And then maybe I can see Brundlefly just killing him quick or something.
Yeah, I don't think
Pinhead wins.
I don't have enough of a counter argument to fucking deny it. All right.
Ooh.
So
this is a toughie here.
Next battle is Jason Voorhees versus Pumpkinhead.
Let's hear those character intros, man.
So let's go find Jason's intro here. I think it's actually first. Yes.
Yes.
There's a legend around here. A killer buried but not dead. A curse on Crystal Lake. A death curse. Jason Voorhees' curse. They say he died as a boy, but he keeps coming back. Few have seen him and lived. Some have even tried to stop him. No one can. People forget he's down there, waiting. Jason Voorhees is the main antagonist of the Friday the 13th franchise. He is a revenant murderer who known for wearing various masks, especially a hockey mask, to cover up his deformities. His main goal is to kill those who dare to step foot in Camp Crystal Lake, although sometimes he kills people who are nowhere near Crystal Lake just because they're near him. It's out of vengeance for his mother, Pamela, who he witnessed being decapitated. Jason is an immortal, vengeful spirit. He has been hanged, shot by firing squad, stabbed in the head with an axe, and even survived a beating by Freddy Krueger in the dream world. With that being said, he can be killed off for small periods of time. He has super strength, durability, superhuman accuracy, pain immunity, no need for oxygen, teleportation, supernatural senses, and limited regeneration. Some weapons that Jason is proficient in using are the machete, the ice pick, the hammer, the pitchfork, the meat cleaver, the spear, the barbed wire, knives of all sorts, just whatever. I mean, give him a weapon. He'll fucking kill you with it. Weaknesses. While Jason may be smarter than he was as a child, he is still pretty easily outwitted. Jason has shown to have a soft spot for children, babies, and pregnant women, and even regular civilians that are in the way of his kill. Fear of water is an odd weakness that has been contradicted several times, but in some films he is afraid of water, especially in Freddy vs. Jason. But in other films, he has no fear of water whatsoever. So, I would say you just ignore that. I guess when canon contradicts itself, you got to fucking choose
sometimes
one side
he comes
or the
up
other.
out of the fucking water.
Right. So I don't think the idea that he's scared of water doesn't make any sense. We'll just get rid of it. He has been defeated on more than one occasion by rocket launchers. Toxic waste and acid are also, hazards that can harm him. But nothing really seems to ever put Jason down all the way. So how about Pumpkinhead? What's up with him? Got a lot of P-word heads going on here. We need a new, like pussy head or something.
Penis head,
pussy head, poo-poo head. Where the fuck is Pumpkinhead's goddamn profile here?
Well, you know what, dude, you're such an expert on Pumpkinhead. You can just go ahead and just tell us from memory.
No, it's all right. I found it. Keep away from Pumpkinhead unless you're tired of living. His enemies are mostly dead. He's mean and unforgiving. Laugh at him and you're undone, but in some dreadful fashion. Vengeance he considers fun and plans it with a passion. Time will not erase or blot a plot he has brewing. It's when you think that he's forgot, he'll conjure your undoing. Bolted doors and windows barred. Guard dogs prowling in the yard. Won't protect you in your bed. Nothing will from Pumpkinhead. That's the actual poem that the movie was actually based on. Predates the film. Pumpkinhead is the main antagonist of the franchise of the same name. He is a powerful demon of vengeance who is summoned to enact the will of whoever so chooses to bring his wrath into the world. Powers and abilities. Pumpkinhead possesses super strength, invulnerability, regeneration, high intelligence, superhuman tracking, and weather manipulation. He can use his sharp claws and long, sharp, barbed-like tail to slash his enemies. Weaknesses. Pumpkinhead has one main weakness. He shares pain with whoever summoned him. If multiple people summon Pumpkinhead, he will get weaker with each summoner killed. He is also weakened by holy weapons and holy areas, such as churches. So this should be an interesting battle. So let's see what Jason's stats are going to be. Well, let's see where it's going to take place first. The Octagon. Holy shit.
Damn. Mono a mono. No bullshit.
No bullshit. Just fucking straight up fight. So let's see if there's this might still complicate things, right? So Pumpkinhead, Jason doesn't get any sort of modifier, and neither does Pumpkinhead. This is totally straight up shit right here.
Wow.
This is
what rolled.
This is just Jason versus Pumpkinhead in a straight up, no nonsense. They're in the Octagon. They're in a UFC match against one another.
Holy shit, dude. Damn. That's like as straightforward as it gets.
It doesn't. It does not get much more straightforward than that. So this is a straight up fight. Pumpkinhead versus Jason.
What we have to assume is that someone, maybe the father or mother or brother or sister or boyfriend or girlfriend of somebody killed at Camp Crystal Lake by Jason, has gone to visit old Haggis out in the swamps and has made the ultimate bargain, a life for a life.
Yep.
And has summoned Pumpkinhead. And the object of Pumpkinhead's vengeance is Jason Voorhees. And by happenstance, it is the Octagon where they meet. Now, we did say at the beginning of this that Jason would be armed with his trademark machete. So he's got that.
Jason's got his machete. That's what he's got.
Pumpkinhead is there.
Yep. Pumpkinhead's got his claws and his tail. And his... How tall is Pumpkinhead? Like 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall, something like that?
Yeah, Pumpkinhead stands somewhere
Pumpkinhead's like 8 or 9 feet tall. I mean, he just
7 to
towers.
9 feet tall. I mean, he's huge.
So Pumpkinhead has a distinctive reach advantage over Jason. They're both damage absorbers. Both of them can absorb a massive amount of damage from their opponents.
Yes.
There's not much. There's no real environmental factors here at play. This is just mono a mono shit.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't get more mono a mono than the fucking Octagon.
So this is a tough one. Let me look at a fucking picture of goddamn Pumpkinhead for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm doing that now. I'm like looking at it's like a kid standing by Pumpkinhead, and Pumpkinhead just looks fucking.
He's huge.
He's a fucking huge ass demon thing. He's like
giant. Like
I mean,
he's
like
fucking like insanely huge.
Now I won't say that Jason can't do shit to him, but I don't fucking know. I mean, in this setting, like maybe he had a surprise attack on Pumpkinhead or something, but like having to face Pumpkinhead straight up, there ain't many fucking monsters that are as big and I mean like as intimidating on this list. I mean, Jason's intimidating, but fuck, Pumpkinhead is just like massive.
All right, so here he is,
super strong.
Here he is standing next to a normal dude.
This is a horrible rubber suit from one of the later Pumpkinheads, by the way. Not a good representation of what we should be looking at.
All right. Well, I can't find any one of him.
Like, look at him looking at that guy right there. See? Right below that.
Right below it?
No, right above that.
Above
above what you've got open now. He's looking right in a dude's face.
This? Why was I one just? Oh, this one here.
Yeah, there you go. This is from the first movie.
Yeah.
He is stooped down. This is a normal sized teenage kid. So probably like 5'8", 5'5", somewhere in that zone, right? In between there.
Yeah.
He is stooped all the way over. You can see the size difference between his head and that kid's head. He's huge. He's between 7 and 9 feet.
I feel like there was a scene at the end of the Pumpkinhead movie where he was like coming at some people, and they like juxtaposed the size. I'm trying to figure out if he's like more like 7 feet or more like 9 feet. That's the rising scene. Let's see the finale of this shit. Here we go.
Kill me scene.
So here's where Pumpkinhead's confronting these people here. He's there to fucking massacre these sons of bitches. Okay, there we go. That's a pretty good fucking shot of him.
Yeah, get that frame right after he drops. So you can see that's a full-size woman.
I want to get... Okay, there we go. So she's a little bit off the ground there. She's probably, what, like 5'5", 5'7"?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's easily 8 feet tall.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 7'5" to 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got a distinctive reach advantage on Jason, and he's definitely got an agility advantage on Jason.
But Jason's not, tiny either. Jason, like a lot of these video games and other representations, he's pretty fucking beefy. But I mean
yeah,
no,
Jason's
he's big.
6'5"?
The dude that played him, most famous dude that played him, Kane Hodder, is a big guy. So he's a big dude. He ain't no slouch, but he ain't no fucking 8 feet tall.
No, he's
not.
He
ain't no Pumpkinhead, but he's
let's see here.
He's a pretty big boy still.
So Kane Hodder's about 6'3".
6'3".
Okay, so Jason's about 6'3".
So Jason's like a 6'3" dude. We can assume Jason's maybe a little taller than the actor who plays him. We can just put Jason like 6'4", 6'5", maybe. But he's still like Pumpkinhead is like
about a foot shorter.
A Pumpkinhead taller than Jason. You know what I mean?
Well, plus Pumpkinhead has that tail, so I mean the reach advantage is just
there's
clear.
a tail there.
It's not even close.
I can
With
see
the tail. I mean, come on, it's not even fucking close.
I really have this visual in my head of Pumpkinhead like pinning Jason up against that fucking mesh and just like clawing at him. But then I think Jason too, if his arm's not pinned, is going to be fucking slashing at Pumpkinhead too. But both of these motherfuckers are going to be absorbing damage like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to come down to who can do enough damage that the other is crippled first. And what can we do but look at what happens in the octagon? I mean, is it ever more appropriate? The dude with the height, weight, reach advantage on the other fighter, that's a reason why there's weight classes, right? Because they have, going into it, a distinct advantage. I think that Pumpkinhead, being a damage-absorbing sponge, just like Jason, has a distinct advantage in height, reach, probably, agility as well.
Definitely agility. I mean, look.
And intelligence.
I think there's just too much going against Jason in this 1-to-1. I think there's definitely situations where Jason could get the better of Pumpkinhead, but I don't think this is it. So
and remember, like, neither one of these motherfuckers is going to kill the other one. They always come back.
Right.
But who's going to win the fight, dude? Jason.
I think that they're both going to just do massive amounts of damage to one another. But I think at the end of the day, Pumpkinhead has better agility. He's going to do more, like, he's going to move around that ring faster.
Right.
Jason, we know he has some teleportation shit, but it only seems to work when he's not being looked at. Like, he only seems to be able to teleport when the camera turns away for a second. So,
right. He can only go so far in the fucking octagon.
He doesn't run either. I mean, like, Jason's a slow moving, lumbering thing. Pumpkinhead is not. Pumpkinhead's fast. He's got the height advantage. He's got the reach advantage. They're both equal in terms of regenerative abilities. I don't think there's any way Jason wins this.
Sorry, I just cracked my back. God damn.
I thought you farted.
I had to stand up, dude. Oh, man, it felt like a fart. Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Oh.
Now, we will get back to the loser bracket in a moment, but we're going to go ahead and take this all the way to its natural conclusion before we do that. So it doesn't get much. This is interesting. We got the two more classic monsters facing off against each other, and then we got the two pea heads fucking facing off against each other.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's going to come down to roles. I mean, I think that I got to be honest with you. Naturally looking at this, I think that there are two individuals who I believe, if I had to make a guess, like if I was a betting man before the rolls,
yeah,
I would say that both the werewolf and Pumpkinhead are probably going to be going to losers.
Yeah, I think that you're going to see. I think I would not be surprised to see a Dracula versus Pinhead in the next round, but who knows? Let's look at the rolls. So, Werewolf versus Dracula. Once again, we're using the werewolf from American Werewolf in London. Let's see where they gonna fight. A Waffle House.
Awesome. I love it, dude.
I never thought I'd see Dracula in a Waffle House, but okay. All right, so who's first? Werewolf. Okay, let's see what he gets.
Werewolf.
Neither. Okay. What about Dracula? He gets an edge. What's his edge? I think Dracula already has the edge, so this is going to be real unfair. Get surprise attack. Okay, well, nice knowing your werewolf.
It's over. Sorry, werewolf, but there's no way you're winning in this fight.
There ain't no fucking
like
way.
Dracula basically
Dracula
is
a surprise attack.
Dracula can pretty much turn himself into a werewolf, and he can actually control himself, and he has other powers on top of that, and he gets a surprise attack, and it's in close quarters. There's no fucking way.
Werewolf dead. Seeing losers werewolf.
There's no way even talking that out. There's no way. There's no fucking way.
I kind of had a feeling like unless Dracula got some real shit fuck rolls and it was a real like werewolf friendly environment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it was
Waffle House, ain't it?
All right. Now it's time for Pinhead versus Pumpkinhead. How's that?
Shit,
Battle
dude,
of the P-heads.
Battle of the P-heads, y'all. Speaking of P-heads, I gotta pee. You guys vamp.
This is gonna be hard for Paul. Because Paul, I fucking love both these characters.
I do love both of these characters, but for me, like I said, if I was a betting man, Pinhead's moving on to the next round. He's just more powerful than Pumpkinhead is.
Yeah, the power level. Yeah, it's just
now.
It's so
some roles could fucking hamper that. Who knows? I don't.
I mean, hell is on the table too. I mean, if it's hell, it's just like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, if Pinhead rolls hell, that's kind of something maybe we need to consider. But he is killed in hell by the doctor. So he's not all powerful there. Remember, Lol is all powerful there. So it would be Lol's pleasure that would be being served, not Pinhead's if they're in hell. And Lol doesn't discriminate. Lol would want to see them fight, and he would torture both of them. So, you know, it just depends. Like that, the location matters in this one, I think, for Pumpkinhead if he wants to pull a victory. I think that also the help.
I mean, let's be real.
Hindrance rolls.
I think that I'm sure that Paul's already said this while I was gone, but I think that Pinhead definitely has a strong advantage going into this fight.
That's what we're just saying.
So we were just talking about
location's a big thing for this one because
let's go ahead and take some of these that's already been used out of here. Waffle House has been used. Subway car has been used. Octagon.
I mean, I think we should leave some of these.
I'll leave the Octagon in.
The cruise ship as well is just too interesting a fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
we're down.
You didn't take out. Wait a minute. Did you take out Hell?
Yeah, I did.
No,
put
dude.
Hell back in.
We had 2 battles there before. All right, we'll put it in there.
It
just
doesn't matter, dude.
We got Pinhead now. It's an
too
interesting
good.
possibility.
It's too good an arena. It has to be in there, dude. It has to be in the fucking.
Well, while I'm at it, do you guys have any others that you want added to this contention?
No, I don't think we need to add any more. We're doing good.
So let's
There's a bunch on there we haven't gotten a bunch of times. So
okay. So what do you feel? Let's
how the battle take place.
Let's ratchet up the tension a little bit because we're moving through this one a little faster. And I want this to be long.
Well, I'm telling you,
we got Dracula's castle, so that's home court advantage for Dracula.
Sure,
we got Hell, that's home court advantage.
Dracula's not in this.
Dracula's
fight.
not
This
in
the
this
battle
one.
of the
This is
heads.
Pinhead and Pumpkinhead. So we got the ancient swamp. That's Pumpkinhead's deal. We got Hell. That's Pinhead's deal. We got a ramshackle old house in the desert. We got Camp Crystal Lake. We got a suburban neighborhood on Halloween night. We got a spooky ass graveyard. We got the Octagon. We got the cruise ship. We got a nursing home. Haven't been there yet. We got Walmart. And we got Hell, of course. So let's take a look. Where are we going to end up? Pumpkinhead gets his home turf.
Oh shit.
Well,
So-
I was saying to Scotty as you were taking a leak that Pumpkinhead needed to roll well here to have a chance against Pinhead,
All right.
and getting his home turf
That's
is
a big deal.
a distinct check mark in the box for Pumpkinhead.
All
So
right.
like we said, dude, rolls
Well, let's
change
see.
everything in this.
Will Pinhead get a handicap? No.
Neither.
Will Pumpkinhead get an edge? Yes, he will.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, my
fuck.
God.
What
Pumpkinhead.
edge will he
Oh
get?
shit!
Brainwash Scotty, assist them. So,
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be a good dude. Pumpkinhead is in good hands.
there you go. Scotty's going to help him out.
So
So, you know what? I'm just going to call it right now. With Scotty helping, no way Pinhead wins this. Scotty walks around Pinhead, fucks his shit up. Boom. That's over. No,
Pumpkinhead is gonna use Scotty as like a little suffering puppet and distract Pinhead with him on his home turf. Like I said before this, and you can roll the tape back, TJ. Some rolls could fucking hamper that. Pumpkinhead, if he wants to win this, has to roll great, and he did in both cases.
Yeah, he fucking did, dude.
He rolled high on the fucking boon that he got, and he rolled high on the location. He got his home turf. I think Pumpkinhead wins this. I don't think you can fucking take it from him. Pinhead's a powerful fucking guy, but Pumpkinhead's got help.
Yeah,
he's got somebody to distract.
Yeah,
Pinhead.
yeah, dude. I'm gonna be fucking suffering. I mean, Pinhead's gonna be loving me. He's like, "You have not begun. You've not yet begun to suffer, Scotty." Oh
The
yes,
bog.
thank you.
The bog is filled with so many creatures that will help you to understand suffering.
You know, he'll be fucking doing a number on your ass.
Well, let's talk it out.
For sure.
Let's figure this out. Because, so Pumpkinhead, we're assuming that he's intelligent enough to know that Pinhead's going to be attracted to this pain that he's inflicting on Scotty, right?
Yes.
So he's like, Pumpkinhead's sitting there like clawing at Scotty's back or something, like making him bleed and making him cry and like twisting his fucking arms and shit. You know?
God damn, TJ.
Having like all the beetles.
Scotty's
and shit
being tortured by Pumpkinhead. God, I get tortured by Pumpkinhead and Pinhead. What the fuck? I'm like, oh, okay.
Then Pinhead's dick starts to get hard, like, oh yes, the sweet
my.
sorrow, yes. So, but once he's there, like, what answer does Pumpkinhead really have to Pinhead's skill set? Is what I'm wondering, because, like, you know, obviously Pumpkinhead is not going to be. He can probably rip through those chains. You know.
Yes. I would say that he could rip through the chains. He also wouldn't be as damaged by the fish hooks.
Yeah,
he could
rip them right out of his flesh and regenerate reasonably quickly as well. So the chains.
We also have to understand too that if Pinhead is what Pumpkinhead's going after, someone has summoned him. So he's the avatar of vengeance. He's coming for that person no matter what, and he's on his home turf. He's close to where he regenerates when he's not on call. I mean, dude. Okay, so the skill set is this. The skill set is this.
Right.
If we want to be stupid about it, we can say Pinhead is invulnerable or some shit. He's not. Okay, he's been killed before. Sometimes it's by just closing the box, and killing him is sending him back to hell. But he's been killed in hell. He had his throat sliced. He's been turned human. We have to make him somewhat mortal, or this game. We just may as well give it to Pinhead.
Yeah.
So I would say that Pinhead, distracted as he would be by the sweet suffering of Scotty,
so proud you were in life, Scotty. Such a man, so boastful. Now look at you, reduced to a pitiful weeping mass.
Please, Pinhead, please.
But it's only just begun, Scotty. You have not yet tasted suffering.
You know, he's just fucking, Pinhead is rock hard. He's torturing Scotty. Pumpkinhead's on his home turf, so he's moving stealthily through the swamp. Comes up behind Pinhead while he's distracted and rips him in fucking half, and Pinhead's dead. I honestly think it's that
back to hell or whatever. He's out of the fight.
Those fucking rolls were so good for Pumpkinhead that it doesn't go any other way. In my like he gets a free surprise attack because he has an avatar of suffering.
Well, dude, like most things, Paul, you know, it's like with sports and other things, like whatever side the momentum is going on, and it's all for Pumpkinhead in this one. Like every roll
Home
is
field
just perfect.
advantage.
Yeah.
Won the fucking coin toss at the beginning. I mean, come on.
Like, this has been hell. If Pumpkinhead is in hell, we're pretty much gonna go, okay.
Well,
sorry, Pumpkinhead.
I love the underdog story, and I did not expect Pumpkinhead to come out on top, but he did.
But he does.
And now,
dude, it's crazy. I don't think he should have, honestly. Like, those rolls were insane. He rolled his home turf, and he rolled somebody to distract Pinhead while he used his fucking advantage to just eviscerate him from behind.
But
there's no
Pinhead ain't out.
Wow.
Of course, Pinhead always has the chance to come back. All these guys,
roller coaster.
all these,
Always a roller coaster.
That's why I said. That's why I said, Paul. You never fucking know, man. You can't. You
don't.
cannot count it out.
all right. So
Damn. Here it comes down to these two.
Dracula
Pumpkinhead.
versus Pumpkinhead
I don't think. I mean, I don't want to
Now,
talk too
and
much.
you know what?
'cause
in
Dracula can roll
Dracula's
his
castle.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Amazing role for Dracula.
Will Dracula have a handicap to maybe help Pumpkinhead out here?
Oh
He
my
will.
God.
Yes.
Oh, he's handicapped.
Let's see what his
Well,
handicap
that's not
is.
a handicap.
No, we're not doing that. No, that doesn't even make sense.
He's still,
All right, whatever. He has a brain freeze. Okay,
Dracula has a brain.
whatever is he has an in. You know,
Oh my
his
god,
brain hurts.
dude.
All right,
That's why I just said it. If Dracula gets his castle, that's just insane.
All right.
Oh,
but maybe Pumpkinhead will get an edge. Let's see. He does. What is his edge
he has
gonna
an
be?
edge.
Oh my fucking god, dude! Pumpkinhead is gonna do
Has
it.
2 minutes to prepare. That's not much.
That's not going to help in Dracula's castle.
God, why does it
No.
always choose that one? I'm taking it off. It's come
All
out
right,
like
take that
90
one.
times.
Yeah, re-roll
Re-roll
it, dude.
it.
All right.
Yeah, let's get Pumpkinhead. Yeah, you know, I mean,
Intimidating display rattles opponent. So,
Oh shit!
Now,
Oh,
look, I would say-
shit.
so
well,
here's
I will
the thing.
say this. It is Dracula's castle, so any rattle I don't think is going to be that effective.
Well,
If
let's
it was somewhere
remember,
else I could see it.
Dracula's got a brain freeze. Maybe he drank some like cold blood or something. And Pumpkinhead just bursts.
Bloody kept on ice.
Pumpkinhead bursts in Dracula's castle and does some kind of like, and Dracula is actually kind of like, "Whoa, what the fuck? What's going on
Right.
here?" He's kind of like, "What the fuck is this thing?"
Right.
he's caught
and
on
he's
a
on his back foot because he's got this intense fucking headache that he can't shake.
Right, you know. But it is
And
Dracula's castle.
brain freeze
so-
can last for up to fucking a minute.
Yeah. So so like I think we gotta fucking assume that at that point Pumpkinhead gets the opening blow at the very least. So what is Pumpkinhead gonna do? Pumpkinhead's doesn't have a lot of powers and shit. He doesn't have like magical shit. I mean,
No, it's just
So
raw strength and sadism. So he's gonna try and rip this dude in half or cut his head off, and either of which, by the way, I think would effectively fucking take Dracula out of this shit.
yeah, I don't know about ripping him in half.
Oh
but
wait, we didn't flip to know if it was day or night.
oh, that's true.
We
So-
got to flip.
Heads,
Yeah, if it's night, then
heads it's day, tails it's
he
night.
can more likely avoid the attack.
it is tails.
Probably.
So Dracula is a. So let's say Pumpkinhead goes at Dracula, does a big slash at him, like, "Rah!" You know. Dracula's got some fucking claw marks across his chest, but he's not going to be killed by that, right? So,
I mean, it would probably be more damage than that. I got to be honest with you, because like he just literally rips people in half, rips heads off in the movie, and Dracula's body is just a dead corpse. Now he can change forms, but he's got brain freeze. That
right.
has to hinder him from
Well,
being smoke
It's
and
also
being
his
bad.
castle, though. So this is like you said. I mean, his seat of power. He can't just be like, "Oh, it's not a factor at all." Yeah, I mean, he might be a little rattled, but I still think that even if he takes some damage, Dracula can retreat into the castle.
He's
There's no-
rattled and he has brain freeze, bro.
Oh, come on, brain freeze, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't think brain freeze is that big.
I don't
of a
think
deal.
brain freeze is that big of an incapacitating
Well,
factor.
no. It's either he's rattled or he has a brain freeze. He doesn't have both of those things.
Well,
Have
he-
you ever
know,
had fucking brain freeze?
I get him
Canonically,
easily.
no,
Yeah.
canonically he is. He's both rattled and has brain freeze.
Dude, brain
Wow.
freeze, I can't do anything but sit there and go, ah, for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, but I guarantee
That's brain freeze.
if a giant monster popped into the room and was like, rawr, I think you'd probably like, oh shit, brain freeze now second priority. But
Yeah.
we do know that Dracula is rattled by this thing because
He's rattled too.
that's the role that Pumpkinhead rolled, is that he gets.
Oh, okay. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So we know Dracula is both brain freezed and rattled because this invading force has just burst into his castle that he did not expect, did not sense coming. He's like, oh shit, what the fuck is this?
He's in his big kabuki theater looking old Gary Oldman form, you know,
right.
because he's sitting there and he's having a blood slurpee. And he's like, oh, no, not again. Oh, I hate this. And then all of a sudden, fucking Pumpkinhead drops through his fucking, stained glass ceiling and lands in front of him and roars in his face. And he's like, oh, I will brain freeze and this. Ah! So Pumpkinhead's going to get a big ass blow off on him.
Yeah. So
Now, listen.
What
All
is-
that happens, listen in Dracula. Remember in Dracula how he's killed. The sun is down when he dies. Right before the sun goes down, they cut his throat.
Yeah.
Then the sun goes down and they ram a fucking sword into his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then he crawls back with Mina's help into the castle and dies there.
Well, she decapitates him.
Right.
She?
But she finishes him off by putting the sword through his heart and cutting his head off.
Right.
I don't think it is inconceivable to think that if Pinhead or Pumpkinhead had the drop on fucking Dracula, which he clearly does here. If you guys want to argue that 2 bad rolls for Dracula doesn't mean that Pumpkinhead gets the drop on him.
He did get 1 good roll, and that it is his home turf.
It's his home turf, but unless you can come up with a way that helps him not be fucking stunned and not, maybe he's stunned for less time, but it doesn't take. We just said he's agile, like Pumpkinhead's agile. He's quick. He's gonna fucking take a fucking swipe and try and take this thing's head off. So, he's gonna try and take and if he succeeds in that,
how does Pumpkinhead?
Dracula may be on his home turf. He may be able to regenerate. Maybe he comes to.
Let's see what Pumpkinhead's go-to methods are for just killing a motherfucker.
Sure.
Well, remember, he's an avatar of vengeance.
Right. But I want to know how he kills. Like, is he going like right for the fucking decapitation first thing? Or like, let's take a look at what he does here. So here's a thing. This is a Pumpkinhead carnage count. So this should fucking show
nothing
us.
in there said that it was, I mean, I guess the brain freeze thing, I mean, if you want to say it's a surprise attack, I mean, then then pretty much we have to pretty much morph that into say it's a surprise.
Well, hold on. Let's see what Pumpkinhead does when he gets the jump on someone. So here he throws this guy around.
Throws him around like a
that
fucking
one's not a
rag doll. Here's the
kill.
kid getting killed. We don't want to see that.
That doesn't matter. All right. So what does he do to
he
this
grabs
guy?
This dude,
dude,
pulls him up into the tree.
Do we know? We don't really know what he does.
Him. He grabs this chick.
Rips that dude apart. All right. What's he doing with her?
Pulls her up. I think he pulls her fucking head off at some point and rolls it down at them.
So he just takes her. Yep.
Yeah, he just grabs people and drags them off and kills them.
So we don't really get to see exactly how he's necessarily killing these people a lot of the time.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the fucking violence in this film was censored out of it because it had to.
It looks like Pumpkinhead's real modus operandi is he likes to grab you and try to drag you away. And I don't think that that's necessarily going to be too effective a thing to do to Dracula. If Pumpkinhead was really going to just go in there and twist Dracula's head off, that'd be one thing. But that doesn't look to be Pumpkinhead's modus operandi. It looks like his more thing is like he's going to grab you.
You have to understand that there's an intelligence behind Pumpkinhead that knows he's there for vengeance, ultimately to kill whoever the vengeance is against. But he knows the difference between a fucking little girl, a little teenage girl wearing pink fucking 80s puff pants.
But does Pumpkinhead understand the concept of a vampire?
He would, because the only reason he'd be there to fight Dracula in the first place is he's been summoned to kill him.
Right. And so whoever he possesses the knowledge and some of the personality and even the weaknesses of the person who summoned him, right?
It'd be in Dracula's castle, too. We can't discount that Dracula has minions and has he can control.
He has minions, but I don't think that we can just say that like his
castle. Well, remember,
like his castle can't give him an army.
Pumpkinhead,
you know what I mean?
Pumpkinhead rolled the intimidating display, which kind of infers that none of those minions were able to stop him at any point. So I think
would they be.
I think you have to
like
go with
none of his gypsies or whatever are gonna stop fucking.
I'm not saying it's gonna stop Pumpkinhead, but that can be a distraction.
I mean. Yeah, I mean, Dracula does have servants. He has other vampires in his castle. I mean, that is a definite advantage his castle gives him. He does have those vampire harpies with him. He does have some, like, the wolves that patrol the perimeter. But we already rolled that Pumpkinhead is able to get close enough to Dracula to do an intimidating display, which means that Pumpkinhead is somewhere where Dracula is. So,
and if he's by Dracula, none of Dracula's guards are alive at that point. So we have to infer that Pumpkinhead fucking has killed everybody in the place,
or that he's at least snuck past them.
Sure,
because I mean, if Dracula's out there, if Dracula's in the same dining room he met that he was talking to Harker in, is Harker is that his name? Anyway,
Harker.
Keanu Reeves' character. I mean, if he's in that room, then Pumpkinhead could easily just pop through that fucking window and just be like, "I'm Pumpkinhead, bitch."
Grab him, pull his head off.
Yeah, I don't.
You know, it's like the person that summoned him would know who Dracula was, and he would be like, you know, this is not your ordinary man. You got to catch him, off guard. You pull his head right off. You don't toy with him. You don't fuck with him. He's gonna have all those memories.
Then you're saying the brain freeze and the intimidating display also makes Dracula lose his super strength. Because why is he just gonna allow his head to be pulled off? There's nothing that's been established that Dracula would just go along with it and go, "Oh, I have a brain freeze. I can't do anything."
I mean,
honestly, no.
I mean, I think there's a good chance he would just turn into rats in Pumpkinhead's hand. He would turn into mist. I mean, Dracula has a lot of fucking aces up his sleeve.
I mean, even if he's surprised, he's not gonna be surprised and just do nothing forever. I mean, that doesn't make.
It's a pretty lame fight if it's just like he pops in and just rips Dracula's head off. I mean, that's just like if you saw that in a movie, you'd be like, that's stupid. So
what do you? Okay, so he
like entertainment has to be a factor here as well. So I think that the battle has to go a little longer than that.
Okay. All right. So he pops in. Dracula is racked with pain by brain freeze, and then is completely and utterly taken aback by the monster that's just jumped through, giving
I concur with all
a precious few seconds.
I think Pumpkinhead grabs him.
Okay.
I think maybe he does. We'll go with the conceit that Pumpkinhead knows he's got to decapitate this motherfucker. Or he's got to penetrate the heart. So maybe he either goes to penetrate the heart with his tail or he goes to rip off this motherfucker's head. I think that, maybe he does some I think he definitely needs to do some damage. We got to give him at least a blow at the beginning. So I think that he maybe he does some digs his claws into Dracula's back or something, but I think Dracula's able to do something to evade at this point, like turn into rats, turn into mist, turn into his wolf form. In fact, his wolf form would probably be the coolest battle. If it was Wolf Dracula versus Pumpkinhead, because then they're almost the same. They're pretty much the same height and build at that point.
Then it's just a boxing match unless Dracula gets home field advantage and gets extra people to help him hack up, I'm
going to go ahead and say that the servants are not going to be a factor in this.
Yeah, we said the servants are not going to be. Yeah, so he's not going to have anyone else jump in.
This is mano a mano in this room at this point.
Dracula wins ultimately. Like he has, he can turn into a big beast thing like fucking Pumpkinhead is and fight. He's in his home turf, so he's going to regenerate.
He can maneuver around the castle. He can take the fight somewhere else.
He can take the fight. Right. He can do kind of what other people have done and lead Pumpkinhead on a merry chase around the fucking castle.
I don't know if Pumpkinhead, once he has Dracula in his sights, is going to let Dracula slip away to that extent. I think even if he tries to turn into rats,
he can turn to mist and go up through the ceiling. What's fucking Pumpkinhead?
Yeah, Pumpkinhead can't. Yeah, and he has. If we're going with the conceit that he's gotten away, then he can. His speed at that point, he can go wherever he needs to go.
I think Pumpkinhead is going
to and run every direction, and then they burn some of those rats in the movie, but enough of them get away that Dracula's fine. You know what I mean? So it's just like
I think
he has any number of ways to immediately avoid any kind of damage from Pumpkinhead. He's on his home turf.
Yeah, here's what I see. Here, I'm gonna pitch an idea. You guys tell me what I think they fucking skirmish for a while as Dracula in wolf form, the human wolf form that he has, and Pumpkinhead. I think Dracula realizes this is a pretty fucking crazy foe. I'm gonna lead him to a different part of the castle. I think maybe he turns into a bat and tries to fly out the window, but Pumpkinhead snatches him out of the air and bites his fucking head off. Pumpkinhead wins that one.
Oh shit!
I mean, I think that you have to give some deference.
Too slow for that, though. I mean, is Pumpkinhead fast? I don't know.
Yes,
Pumpkinhead's fast as a motherfucker.
Like it's limited in the movie because he's a giant practical prop,
right?
But he moves with incredible speed through the woods. He's an actual physical thing. He's a demon. He's incredibly fast, quick.
Would you guys say he's faster than Dracula?
No,
I wouldn't say he's faster, but I'd say he's comparable speed.
I would say that there is not a huge gulf between them in terms of physical agility. Dracula has all those other forms and shit, but he's still susceptible to having his head pulled off and shit.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure.
So, and Pumpkinhead is not going to stop. So Dracula's going to have to go heads up with him at some point. Like, he can lead him on a merry chase through the castle. Maybe he's got some trap rooms set up. I don't know if you want to go that far, but I don't think so.
I don't think he is.
If he can't have anybody come to his aid, all he can do is lead this thing around. And Pumpkinhead doesn't get tired. He doesn't stop until his target is dead or he is. So what else can Dracula do? He can run around his castle. Yeah, he knows the turf. He can turn into fucking mist.
We've never seen
At some point, he's going to have to go head up.
We've never seen Pumpkinhead die, and I might be wrong because I haven't seen all the Pumpkinhead movies because they get pretty bad. But I've never seen Pumpkinhead canonically die unless the person who summoned him is killed.
Yeah. That's the only way to kill Pumpkinhead.
so I don't-
That dude
yeah.
is not going to be anywhere near Transylvania. There's no way Dracula
But I mean,
can
like-
get to him.
I mean, like, can he? But obviously, so if Dracula can't kill Pumpkinhead, can he at least incapacitate Pumpkinhead? I think he could probably.
Well, like we said,
capture him or
we
something.
can't use that as a standard because we've said
Right.
time and time again, it's not who can be killed
So-
who can win the fight.
It's
Can he-
implied that Pumpkinhead regenerates damage incredibly quickly. We see him take shotgun blasts to the face
Well,
or
yeah,
to the
I mean-
body, and he just like walks up and then
Yes.
nothing. Like
So
nothing.
whoever we're going to give the victory to, we can't say, well, they have to be killed. You know
right.
what I mean?
So Pumpkinhead could maybe just be dispensed in some other way, like thrown off into the ocean or something.
yeah,
and Dracula-
Pumpkinhead
or
could,
Dracula,
like-
I mean, whatever. we
Dracula
decide.
could.
I mean, it's tough.
We
It
have
really
to
is
say
tough.
that Dracula could incapacitate him to the point where he was no longer a threat.
Absolutely. But
And that's all.
think,
And that's really all that Pumpkinhead could do to Dracula, maybe, unless he manages to not only stake him but fucking pull his fucking head off.
I happen to think that there's enough of an element of surprise there, and just enough like the fact that he actually was able to rattle Dracula in his own castle kind of makes Dracula seem more like a bitch. So I think that, I don't know, I feel like I want to give Pumpkinhead the victory, but I don't know if it's just like part of me that wants wants Pumpkinhead to win because he's the underdog in the fight in a lot of ways.
I love Pumpkinhead. You guys know I'm defensive of it. I know some of that's bias is creeping into my advocacy.
I mean,
here.
of course, but naturally, but that's kind of the point.
I mean, honestly, let's look at it from this perspective. Let's say that Pumpkinhead fucking gets a drop on him, right? And let's say it starts like TJ said before. He gets a big fucking shot off on Dracula, just a big rake down his chest. Dracula's wounded. He's like, oh, and his brain freeze passes and he's not scared anymore. And he's going to run, right? Obviously, it's his home turf. He's going to fucking recoup. So he's going to turn into mist, poof, before fucking Pumpkinhead can do any more damage. And he's going to go to another room in the house. Okay. So we've already said that no minions can intervene. So we've taken that off the table. What can Dracula do? He can turn into mist, but is he going to kill Dracula or is he going to kill Pumpkinhead with the mist? No, he can turn into rats.
If this was about Dracula escaping, that'd be one thing. But this is about a fight.
But he can't.
So
remember, we've set up our video game barrier around the boss fight area.
Dracula's got to, one way or the other, Dracula or Pumpkinhead has got to win this fight. So this has got to be a
really
fight.
think about this too, because you remember in some of the fights earlier, there was this Mary Chase thing that we did with some of them. Well, Dracula's on the clock. It's night, but it's not going to stay night.
Right.
So if he leaves Pumpkinhead around this fucking house all day long until the sun comes up, he's 50% weaker.
Yeah.
So he's literally forced by time to go heads up with fucking Pumpkinhead. And I ask you guys, what can he do? What combo of powers can he do that's going to kill Pumpkinhead?
This is why I feel like ultimately Dracula's going to choose to go into that wolf form because that's his biggest, strongest bestial form. And I think it just ends up being a fucking outright slobber knocker between these two giant monsters. Well, it's just a question of like which one of those is stronger.
One of them is a giant monster, and one of them is a man-sized wolf. We see him fucking Lucy. You said yourself, we're going with we're going with the Oldman vampire. You can pull up the scene when he's in between Lucy's legs. He's the size of a standard man.
Yes,
he's not a giant. Pumpkinhead is. We've already established something like 8 feet. 7.5, 8 feet.
If it was Castlevania Dracula,
in that giant
story.
Wait, in that wolf form, I believe he is like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Go look up the scene where he's raping, or not raping, I guess, fucking Lucy. That gives you the best idea because that's the form he's in when he's fucking Lucy.
That's true too.
Yeah, he's in his wolf form.
But
he's in the wolf form. The "Do not see me" scene.
You're right.
Up.
Oh shit! Too loud.
So yeah, he's on top of her.
Yeah, he's like normal size there. But I feel like in the other scene, it kind of implies that he's gigantically towering over.
When he's a bat, he is way taller. So if you look at the bat scene, it looks like he almost has to duck to be in the room.
You're right. This is what I meant. I was talking about this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's going to turn into this thing. Is what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I was mistaken about the form.
I was confused because he has that wolf form.
It's implied. It's implied that in this form he's like 8 feet tall or some shit. Like he towers over these guys. So this is definitely the form to fight Pumpkinhead in, right?
This would probably, if he had to go heads up, this is probably the form that we've seen that he would do his damage in. Okay, so here's the thing. We know something about Dracula too. It's done through exposition in the movie, and it's in the book that he has to periodically rest. He cannot use his powers wantonly. He must rest and regenerate. So we know that Dracula can't just willy-nilly poof, poof, poof. I'm missed. I'm rats. I'm missed. I'm rats. I'm missed. I'm rats. I'm the thing. Poof, poof, I hit you. But oh, no, I missed again.
Yeah, his powers are not inexhaustible.
Right. Even though he's on home turf, he has to take respite in the bowels of the castle in the dirt.
Yeah.
To keep himself rejuvenated and powerful.
That's true.
He's on the clock. That bat, that bat does not look like it's as well equipped for battle as Pumpkinhead is.
Let's see.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if we get as good a shot of him because it's
We do.
He's okay.
It's
so
right here.
This is probably about the best shot you get.
He's big. He's definitely probably 7 feet tall here. He's toweringly. No, he's probably even bigger than that. He's probably 8. He's probably equivalent size. But what has he got? He's got his fangs. He's got
fangs. It looks like he has some wings
what
there.
Look like very
work.
delicate bat wings that Pumpkinhead would love to grab and pull off of him.
Yeah. Also, there's definitely like sort of like when you look at the way he moves and shit, there is more of an old manish kind of vibe to it still. You know what I mean?
It's like he's hobbled by it a little bit. Like, you know, like it's not like
it looks like those arms. It really doesn't look like he could stretch those arms all the way out, although maybe he could because bats can, I guess. So. I mean, he is able to still use his other powers in this form. Like he was able to light that cross on fire and shit.
Right, but remember, immediately he's not lighting
them on fire, you know.
So here's the display of power that because this scene is actually great. In the lead up to this scene, he uses his power to turn into mist to visit Mina.
Yeah,
he uses his power to change the way he looks to look like the young version of himself. Okay. Mm-hmm. He then is discovered by this crew in Congress with Mina, turns into this bat thing. So he uses his powers again to turn into the bat thing. Mm-hmm. Then he uses his powers one final time to turn into rats to escape.
Yeah, he turns into those. We'll look at that real quick if you want.
And then right after this scene, he has to leave and regenerate in a box.
Yeah, so at this point, he escapes. He's like, I don't want this fight. I'm going to get out of here.
Right. And the fact that it's night doesn't matter. He's too tired. He's used his powers too many times. So he can only shift forms 3 or 4 fucking times in this fight.
But Van Helsing is there too, and he knows that Van Helsing actually knows a lot about him. Whereas I don't know if Pumpkinhead necessarily is going to know all the same things that Van Helsing is going to know.
Pumpkinhead's not got the same knowledge, but I mean, look,
it's going to depend on who summoned Pumpkinhead to some extent, though, too.
Well, you're not going to go through the pains of summoning Pumpkinhead to kill Dracula without knowing how to kill Dracula. Like the person that's going to go through the sacrifice that is summoning Pumpkinhead, which, by the way, for those that don't know, you become the next Pumpkinhead.
Right.
Here's what I would say. If the standard was either one of these guys had to kill Dracula's got to be killed or Pumpkinhead, probably not. But who's going to win? I mean, if they're stuck in that battle arena, you kind of have to think. I mean, especially with everything that's been rolled, that Pumpkinhead probably is going to come out on top. I mean, I kind of go TJ. Not necessarily maybe he bites his head off and kills him, but just like he's too fucked up.
I think Dracula
he beats him.
I think Dracula's going to put up I think Dracula's going to put up a hell of a fight, but I think at the end of the day, his powers.
What can he do?
His powers are more limited, and Pumpkinhead is harder to kill, and he's more regenerative.
Well, in this iteration, yeah, there's not like that. Like there's definitely different forms of Dracula that could destroy Pumpkinhead easily, but this one, I don't really see it.
His Dracula's powers are not more limited. They're just limited against a foe like Pumpkinhead. Like they're very strong against, like Carrie. Right. The fact, she never had a chance really against Dracula.
Also the roles. I mean, if Dracula has a surprise attack in his castle, it's just conceivable he has the perfect place to fight him and the perfect setting to fight him with. So he can win.
I think I'm a big Pumpkinhead apologist. I'm sure people in the chat are going to accuse me of fucking ramming this through, but you guys have wills of your own. I'm not making you vote Pumpkinhead. I think Pumpkinhead takes this. TJ, what do you vote?
Now, a big thing that could have factored in too is if we'd given Dracula a weapon. Like if he had that, that movie, he did have a sword. So if you said he had a sword, I mean, maybe then he could beat Pumpkinhead. But
he's got access to one. He's in his castle. We know that fucking Dracula sword. off
Yes,
the
I mean,
wall.
like, he could potentially cut some limbs off Pumpkinhead or maybe even decapitate. I don't know what. If you decapitate Pumpkinhead, I don't know if that kills him or if that slows him down or what that does.
It slows him down. He's got to regenerate and shit, but there's no way of stopping him. Like, Haggis makes it clear.
He will not stop. Nothing on earth will stop him, Ed Harley, until these people are dead.
You know, she lets him know, like, Pumpkinhead will come, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it might be like that if he's
but I think
got
if
an arm
I think
chopped
if he
off and his head chopped off, that Dracula has at that point conceivably won under
I would
our
say
rules.
that. I would say he's won at that point. Yeah, I mean,
but I just don't think with the fucking negative rolls against Dracula at the beginning, he got a positive roll being on home turf, but these brain freeze and stunned, him getting fucking hit first, taking a bunch of damage, he's not going to be thinking as clearly as he would be. You know what I mean? Like, what's he going to do?
We saw that, you know, Keanu Reeves and Anthony Hopkins were able to beat Dracula, so I think Pumpkinhead probably could do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and vote with Pumpkinhead because I think we've discussed it and it seems plausible enough to me.
All right, look at
but-
Pumpkinhead.
But
Look at my boy going all the way.
But Pumpkinhead will be challenged once more. How will
He
it
will.
go? We will see. Who among these champions will be able to face off against Pumpkinhead? Let's find out.
It might be a rematch.
Hi, I'm Mickey, and you're a pleb. And that should make you sad, because you're going to miss out on the rest of this episode. Some things that you're going to miss are a crazed spider monkey, a rematch in a nursing home, and a bloody final battle that you won't soon forget. You could pop into the Pessimist Productions Patreon anytime and shed your pleb status. So do it or miss out.
Deep bad pride. Deep bad pride.